If you are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact and more revenue in your business, tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Campbell Rapin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. We'll see you all on the inside. Do you remember the film, He's Just Not That Into You? Well, for many of you peeps, you need to hear this as it relates to business. Maybe the people you're speaking to, wasting time with, are the tire kickers. The ones who are someday clients, but not buyers. It happens. And I watch a lot of businesses go broke on the pathway to success because they are talking to people that just aren't into them. And they are using hope as a business strategy. I hope that if I can educate, convince, inspire, that this will change. It's admirable. And it's how they go broke. Broke financially, broke in their business dream, broke in their heart, and it is avoidable. And we're going to show you how on this episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Campbell Rapin. One of the things I observe the most of why business owners are constantly in that hope dream strategy is that they don't really understand what a buyer is, how to distinguish if they're talking to a buyer, and what to do if they're not. So we're going to tackle that head on today and start with the first piece of the puzzle. What is imperative for you to know? And if it helps to keep a Post-it note by your workspace so that this keeps front and center, please do that. You're needing to be crystal clear with this. A buyer, you can use the word client, customer, or patient, depending on what's right for your industry, is a decision maker. Okay, and it's a very simple truth. A person who moves commits. And so when we are making offers and we're selling and we're leading in our business, our number one responsibility is not to get to yes. It is a responsibility to help the two get to a decision. And to respect that decision, to, yes, on occasion, challenge that decision if it's not in the answer to solving what they've asked us to advocate for, but to guide them to a decision. So if we recognize they're a decision maker, if you're talking to people who are just not into you, they're not decision makers. They've made a decision. I'm not that into you. Pay attention. Second piece of that is buyers have three unique attributes. If you've been here a while on our podcast, you might know this. If you've been to our events, you will know this. And if you need a reminder and you don't know this, this is it. Get your pen and paper ready. Buyers have three things. Number one, I am problem aware. I know there's an elephant in the room. Okay, so that is a really good thing. I spend so much time talking to people in the emerging business owner space, the people who are struggling to get their first $1 million in revenue and wanting to create revenue and wanting to create commercial enterprise, talking to people who are like, but they need to know they have a problem. And I'm like, they don't. You'll never get paid. You'll never get thanked. And you'll never be appreciated by being the person who pops a bubble. Once the bubble's popped is the perfect time to talk to somebody because the bubble's popped, reality is set in, and I know about the problem and it's time to solve. Okay, a solver is the second piece of the puzzle here. I know I have a problem and I am trying to solve it. You're looking for people who are solution seekers. The more times they've tried to solve it, the higher buyer tendency they have. That's actually a good thing. So many people look at this as a negative because they come in and say, I've been burned before, prove me wrong. And you're like, great, I know how to prove you wrong. Let me show you what this option looks like. Let me show you what makes us different. Let me show you why I'm a must hire. Let me show you the case studies, the examples, and the results others have had. And how would that change your life? But so they are seekers. They've gone to Google, Pinterest, YouTube. They've gone to Aunt Sally, a random Facebook group. They've downloaded a podcast. They've bought a book. They maybe attended a course. They maybe hired a mentor. They've done a lot of things. And they've made likely some level of progress. But here's the kicker. That progress is not satisfactory. So there's dissatisfaction, dissonance in the gap between what I want and what I have. And maybe I've tried to solve it, but I haven't solved it permanently. And that's what I'm looking for, a changed behavior long-term, which becomes a lifetime client opportunity. And so our job in marketing is to intersect that curiosity and show a new pathway, show an enhanced opportunity, and show our vision for their success. The third thing, before somebody will make a decision, is there has to be a level of commitment. Decisions don't happen without commitment. They're wishy-washy. So you want to look at and talk about and have a conversation around what is your commitment to resources, time, bandwidth, money, spirit, health, all of it. And recognize that all three of these criteria, let me recap. Buyer is problem aware, seeker of a solution, and committed. If they're not those things, you're not talking to a buyer. Could they become a buyer? Possibly. More importantly, for your priority setting day to day is what is the probability, the likelihood that they're a buyer. And that's when you're assessing urgency. But if there is no urgency and people say, I don't know what I want, gosh, I'm so confused. That's not an objection. That's a complaint. So our job in sales is to hold that complaint and say, tell me what that means. What would it look like? What don't you know? Let me answer any questions you have. And recognize that once you've answered all the questions, once you've painted the picture, your role is to lead them back to what will you decide? But if somebody's truly going to stand there and say, I'm not going to make a decision, we're in trouble. It's a hope strategy. You cannot build your business on a dream of hope, hoping they'll come, hoping they'll say yes, hoping this. We need to be more certain by assessing true behavior. Because here's the thing that's important for you to hear. And this one that I struggle with, but I need to hear it. And my coach reminds me of it. So I'm just going to cascade this knowledge to you. People are what they do, not what they say. If they say, I'm going to hire you, that's not saying I am hiring you. If they give just enough attention so that you feel this hope stirring, but you never get to a decision, you're in the wrong room. It is important that you lead you. First and foremost, don't get caught strung along. Ask boldly, are you here to make a decision? If not, an offer is not relevant. And when you decide how you spend your time, you have to be the judgment of who is in the room, who gets my priority, what am I focused on, which is growing my business to the next level, to finding my next client. And if it's not you, I need to move on, make the decision, be direct, be respectful, and be done. So when I'm coaching clients, all of us, and this is how I run my own business as well, because I walk what I coach, I have a dashboard and I have columns in there about prospects, potential buyers. I have met them. Initially, they're a contact. We've indicated some level of buying signal, some level of curiosity, some level of commitment, which makes them a lead. And then I'm looking at what kind of lead do I think they are? A slow lane, which means I'm not having urgency, but I could have a crisis that moves the urgency up. And there's somebody currently in a spin, which is a medium level client who's like right now white knuckling the problem, and I can intersect that and move them quickly or invite them the next time the cycle repeats. Or is it a unicorn? Somebody's like, oh my God, just solve this. Where's my credit card? Let me help. Get help, get help. And they make the exchange. So we have identified where they are. We've made our assessment what lane of traffic they are, and I have a next step. And that next step is what decision is being made. Are you a buyer? If you're a buyer, I'm making a recommendation. What program fits you? What do I believe with my expertise, my lens, my knowledge does fit what you have shared as a good match to a solution? And I keep track of that. And I say, okay, what's our next step? And I go through this dashboard every single day. My first hour of the day, I look at money in the bank, who has paid, who has not, an address. I look at any open offer. What's our next step? What was coming back? Have we got signatures? Do we have our calls booked? And then I look at who could I be making an offer to? And I must spend with discipline time with the unicorns and the fast movers and not the, oh my God, he's just not that into you. So how do you do that? How do you actually follow up? Because you've heard this phrase, I'm sure, the fortune is in the follow-up. You need to remember that silence isn't an indicator of lack of decision-making. It's just silence. And there's a million things going on for another human being, just as there's a million things on your plate as a business owner. So the first thing I do is follow up. And that is about having a cadence, having an understanding of how often I will follow up. If offers are hot, we follow up more frequently in short duration because decisions age badly. We get distracted. We think, oh, it's not so bad. Oh, will you do it? Until the next crisis rolls around. And I got to be observant of the next crisis because I could go back into urgency, back into solving. But if somebody is in silence, that cadence slows down. I need to make sure I'm tracking when was the last time I reached out? What kind of reach out was it? And no, please don't make them all, hey, I'm following up. Did you want? Can you do that once? Yes. Should it be the only thing you do? No. But we track because here's what's happening while you're doing a million things, so are they. And you think, oh, it was just last week I spoke to them. And if you looked into your tracker, whether that is a simple spreadsheet or a formal CRM, customer relationship management software, what you realize is, oh my gosh, that was 5 months ago. Still a lead, still an opportunity to pick back up and follow up and say, have you solved that problem? If not, I invite you to this resource, this event, this experience, and let's start solving. Do you want to make that decision? And the third thing I will say is in your follow-up, please don't automate all of this. People do business with people, and when they have not met their own expectations of finding a solution, it's sensitive. It's easy to get the tone wrong. It's better to do this human. And if you don't have the discipline to humanly follow up with people you want to serve, what the heck are you doing in your business? Because business is a human game. Human capital, human sourced, human impact. So number one, we follow up. Number two, we don't chase. People are what they do, not what they say they will do. If somebody says, I will take action, and they don't, you need to trust them the first time that is a real response. It was a decision on their part. So you want to be clear that you're not chasing. You are inviting in many ways, but you don't chase. You have boundaries. You are looking for people who are committed to solving a problem because that's what a buyer does. Committed to solving a problem that's known, curious, know the gap, and I'm committed. And when they have just simply not engaged, you close the door. What I mean by that is you adjust your CRM, you release attachment, and you keep moving. I will tell you that we will follow up and engage, but never chase people as long as they choose to stay in our ecosystem. And it's not unusual for people to hire us 3 years or 5 years after they've been in our world and they're like, I'm just not ready yet. And I said, well, I wasn't going to chase you, but it doesn't mean I didn't invite you to come to our next workshop, to come to our next event. And I'm constantly talking about this idea that what we do is solve the problem you say you want to solve. But I'm not living in a hope strategy. I'm living based on what I observe is happening. And the third thing is if you've made the commitment to be done with a prospect, for whatever reason, maybe you have seen something that you feel you are in gross misalignment on your values, then be done. And what I mean by that is remove them from your CRM. Don't follow them on social media. Don't get caught back into the spinning hope strategy. Be firm, that's not my person, and move on. And while I tell you this factual way to run a business, you have to be clear you're looking for buyers. You have to be clear what a buyer is. You have to decide, be direct, be respectful, and manage the business like a business to be rewarded like a business and make decisions yourself. But we are human. And I want to tell you a story before we wrap our episode today of where I got caught in my own messy lack of decisions about a prospect. This is somebody who really led me, and I bought into a hope strategy. Somebody who's known to me, somebody who has a known problem, who meets the criteria of a buyer and has come into having one-to-one meetings with me. I made them a proposal and didn't get clear enough that this was a decision-making moment. And then I started to chase. But you said you wanted this. But their actions and their words were not congruent. They were not aligned. They were disconnected. And I kept chasing, inviting them to the next thing in my follow-up. They would keep teasing me saying, yep, I want that. And we got to the point where when I had made another offer, I was frustrated by the response and thought, if you can't commit to this, you won't commit to the other thing. I'm in delusion. So I had to get clear, set a boundary, remove them from my system, and get told by an outside external mentor of mine, you are chasing the wrong people. You actually don't want that person, and your ego is caught into this hope strategy. Pay attention, get out. And I had to tell you, it was very hard to hear, and it was accurate. And so I made the decision. And guess what happened immediately after I stopped chasing the person who wasn't into my services? I freed up space to find somebody who was. And within a week, I had 5 new clients. And I thought, wow, stop chasing the people that are just not that into you. Invest your energy into finding people who move towards you, who actions matter, and be clear in your process that it is up to you to lead, set the boundaries, be direct, be respectful, be done, and do the work. Because you will always be in this cycle. Client growth takes energy, effort, and focus. If you want it to be predictable, get off zero every single day. You do not control when somebody says yes, but you do control how you show up, how often you show up, and how you lead. And if this hits home, I want you to come and explore what it's like to work with us. Because having somebody see outside and help you course correct is how I got out of that story quickly. It was a very, very smart investment to have somebody see that for me. So you can go to ChristineCampbellRapin.com. You can go to the Work With Me page and explore the options. If you do not currently have a mentor who holds your hand, walks you through it, and helps you find predictable client growth, and you believe that that would be a faster path to where you are now, have bold decision-making to take the next step and ask for a conversation. You decide. You make the decision. I will give you options and meet you there. I'll see you on our next episode. That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell Rapin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit christinecampbellrapin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to master your marketing message. We'll see you all on our next episode.